tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, After Buzzers, and welcome to another fine episode of Showtime's original series, Homeland, Episode 6, Season 4.
I know, we're getting through the season, and
Yes.
it's only getting better.
It is getting better. I can't wait till next week, but before we get to next week, let's talk about this week, from A to B and back again. I'm your host, Thaddeus Massey, and joining me today is...
Hey guys, I'm Lexie Hammesfahr.
And Nando couldn't be here, and neither could Danny Hoyt. They couldn't be here with us because they're doing some big awesome projects that I'm sure they're gonna fill you guys in on next week when they come back. But until then, we're gonna talk about what happened this week on Homeland because there's a lot of good
Drama.
great climax for this episode. I don't know if anybody expected this to happen. I mean, it's jumping way ahead, but
No.
it sucks for this kid.
I feel bad for him.
You know how many people can actually say, "Oh, I knew that was going to happen." I'm sure there's going to be a lot of fans, a lot of viewers that
I predicted that from episode 1.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of people were like, "This kid is a sitting duck." Like,
Well, he kind of was, though. I just feel like none of us saw it.
But I think you might logically think that he might be safe because of his uncle.
Clearly,
His
no one
uncle
is safe
like-
in that family.
Right. I mean, his uncle's like the head guy in charge, so you would probably think, oh, he's okay. And then he's obviously gotten in good with the CIA.
Little does he know.
Little does he know. He just, I don't know. They started the episode with him and Carrie having this like endearing moment in the bed, and they looked like this couple, and it was like really kind of
Cuddling.
weird. Yeah, it was just like
awkward.
It was awkward.
It was interesting. I was talking to some fans of the show earlier today, and they were like, I just feel very dirty watching it because it is like a 40-year-old sleeping with a 17-year-old. That's what it seems like. And it just
I don't think she's that old.
No, but I'm just saying
I know
age difference.
the age difference, yeah. It feels like a little...
slimy.
Cougarish.
Yeah.
But without the consent of the guy. It's like he's been lured into a trap.
And there's an ulterior motive completely.
Right. Yeah. So that really sucks for him. Needless to say, obviously how it turned out, and none of us expected that. I know I didn't expect it. Like I said, I'm sure some fans did expect something.
I gotta say,
dark to happen
Danny's
to him.
prediction was right, though. We were all kind of right last week in our predictions.
What did Danny say again? Because you did mention that, and I can't remember what he said.
Danny said something along the lines of, oh, I think somehow Ayana's going to make it to the mountains in that drone transfer scene. And we were all kind of just like, how is he going to get there? I know that's certainly what I was thinking, but he was totally on point with that prediction.
Okay. Well, we'll give it up to you, Danny Hoyt, since you're
New
not
Mexico.
here. Right, in New Mexico. Okay, so Carrie gives Ayan his papers.
Right.
His passport,
fake passport
and his new identity and all this. And he had gone to Kieran's place first, right? Didn't he go to Kieran's place first to get his bag? And that's when he told her like he was going to London.
No, that was when he
was
went
it after?
after, yeah. And he
Okay.
was like, she walked into his apartment.
Right.
And he was like packing up his pictures, which again, I have to say, if you're trying to fake your identity, why would you bring your family pictures with you?
This just goes to show what a rookie this kid. I mean, I don't want to say rookie because he's not like an aspiring spy or anything like that. He's just green.
Yeah.
And he wants to, these are probably the only things of sentimental value. He probably thinks I'm never coming back here again. So that's all he has.
It was a good thing he left that behind, though.
Were there any pictures of Haqqani on any of those pictures? Or was it just like him and his mom and like siblings and stuff like that?
I think it was just him and his siblings and stuff. But I mean, I think that's easy enough to identify.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure he, at this point, had trusted Carrie and was thinking, I'm going to be saved.
I've got my girlfriend journalist in London saving the day.
Oh my gosh. I'm sure he felt like, I don't know. I felt really bad for Karen though, because you know they obviously have this thing that has been unconsummated between the two of them. And he's just leaving
with the girl that he
has been sinning with.
Yeah.
And he couldn't hide the fact that obviously there's some feelings going on and something's going on, because he's obviously established something with Karen that he's actually been able to trust her. And based on the culture and, you know, their age and all this and them going to school together or whatnot, they've obviously established some intimate connection.
Yeah, and you know, before the end of the episode happened, I really thought that maybe Kieran was going to do something to put him in jeopardy and his chances of getting out.
Yeah, because especially what was going on with the dad and her not being too slick with that situation. You know?
Yeah.
I'm surprised that he was even able to see her again, or that he even saw her again before he left.
Well, but I think the apartment is kind of on the medical grounds, so I don't think her dad would be able to, you know, it'd be like if you were on a college campus.
Right.
Your parents can't stop you from seeing someone they don't want you to see.
Right. But she, you know, I don't know, it was just weird.
It was weird that she walked in.
Right. I didn't, you know, I don't think anybody would really expect that last interaction or that last encounter to happen.
And I don't know why he told her that he was going to London.
He's so green.
He's so naive.
I think, yeah, it's just, come on, dude. Just say, oh,
I'm going out of town.
Say something. But maybe they know each other so well she would know he's lying. And then maybe also based on the culture and the faith, you're really trying not to lie blatantly. Like, even him sleeping with Carrie, he knows it's wrong, or he feels it's wrong based on his faith. Yeah. So he, you know, that doesn't mean he has a pattern of probably being honest and just telling, especially with Karen, he's probably always been honest with her.
I would just think that if you...
He just kind of beat it around the bush with the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because he never really answered her questions when she was like, do you love her? Didn't she ask him?
Yeah, and he didn't answer.
He didn't answer.
I don't remember what his answer was, but it was very, like, nondescript.
So as a girl, is that definitely like, oh yeah, he has something for this girl?
Yeah. I mean, well, I'm not very good at reading between the lines, but I feel like if you were in that position, you would probably be like, okay, he has feelings for her and he's not being honest.
I think she was probably more in shock than anything, because the look on her face was like, what's going on right now? I can't believe this is happening. Like, she has so many mixed emotions.
Well, the way he told Carrie about her, like, later in the episode, it made it seem like they were dating, like, in an actual relationship.
Him and Kieran.
Yeah.
Right.
So I feel like maybe, you know, she did kind of have a right to know what was going on, if that was the case, which is what he made it kind of seem like.
Because I'm thinking, like culturally, there's a courting type of thing that goes on, and obviously there's no sex that doesn't happen until after marriage, but that doesn't mean there's not an established courtship, maybe like a courtship.
Right.
Like, I don't know the culture, like I'm learning as I watch the show, like I'm sure a lot of you are, but I'm sure there's like something where it's like, okay, we like each other and it's established that we like each other, but there's obviously
let's hang out, let's
right,
go on casual walks together.
Exactly. Casual walks.
Let's hold hands.
Right. But there's no sex, because that's something that culturally they just do like after marriage. Right. But that doesn't mean that there obviously is not an established something.
Connection.
Right. Yeah. But I think it was more than a connection. It seems to me like there's more than a connection with them. It's like they're not boyfriend girlfriend, but they're not boyfriend girlfriend either. It's like that gray area. Right. But it's kind of, you know. No. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think about how do you feel Kieran should have responded to I think he made it clear that he had feelings for her or liked her. or there was some kind of intent or intention there.
Yeah.
And she probably reciprocated it in some kind of way.
I just think it was never made clear to us what Kieran and his relationship was. And so we're never really going to know whether or not he was in the right or the wrong or a gray area with beating around the bush on this.
Because then why would he just be like, yeah, I'm leaving. I got a chick. I'm blah, blah, blah. But he was like, well...
Goodbye.
Yeah, it was just like awkward kind of thing. So obviously there was something there already that was established, even though it wasn't said.
Right. So maybe they weren't official. This is like the great debate of relationships in this show, I feel like.
Relationships. But, we know where he stands with Carrie, don't we? Okay, so he takes off. He has his papers now, and he's back at the safe house. Mm-hmm. And the agents, or who we think is ISI, breaks into the house, and they're trying to, like, kidnap him. And
Carrie does a pretty good job of faking that. I mean, she got punched in the nose.
She got backhand slapped.
Okay, she got something that made her bloody.
Yeah, it was like backhand slap. But still, she took one for the team. And I was actually really shocked and impressed that she orchestrated this whole thing.
I know.
To get him to flee so they can follow him.
That was pretty genius that she did that, in my opinion.
Because to me, I was like, okay, her intention was never to send him off to London anyway. So how does she, figure this thing out and manipulate the situation where she's going to make him think she's still letting him go to London, but not really send him to London?
And the fact that she played stupid when he was like, well, I can have my uncle transfer me. And she was like, you can?
Right.
I was like, girl, you know what you're doing.
Right.
You've got a plan.
Yeah. She's really smart, obviously.
She was.
She's a good agent. She's obviously one of those intel kind of... I wish she could fight a little bit. Well, that's what I was thinking at first until we found out, obviously, that's her team that set this whole thing up.
Right.
But we have never seen Carrie fight anyway, have we?
No, we really have. Well, there was it last season, I think, where she was handcuffed to the pipe.
But did she fight? Like, have we ever seen
her?
No,
I don't think she fought.
I don't think we've ever seen her in like hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah. That was a cool scene to see her do.
Right.
I liked it.
Okay, so she gets picked up by her guys. Mm-hmm. Ion's panicking now, and we have the drone following him.
Because he has a tracker on his passport.
Right. Which, by the way, guys, I heard in the near future that everybody's passports are going to have, like, RFID chips. Right. So, yeah. So that's not uncommon, apparently. That's like the new age of passports anyway.
Well, I feel like if you're going to try to smuggle someone out of a war-torn country, and you're the U.S., it makes sense that you would have a tracking device.
Right, exactly.
On the nephew of a terrorist.
And they have the drones also. If there's such a drone, like...
Focus
region, I'm surprised people are not looking up in the sky.
I think they're so high up, though, that you can't see them.
And I don't know what kind of cameras they're using. These cameras are freaking amazing.
Well, they're not Nikons.
Damn Nikon. I want to know what kind they are, though.
I don't know.
They're really... I don't know if they're exaggerated for television or if they actually got, like, somebody who's a consultant that says, no, the cameras are really like this, and we're actually getting a real view of
I think they're pretty realistic.
Yeah. Because you have drones so many thousands of feet in the air that can actually see all the stuff that's going on. Mm-hmm. And they actually get so close and that they can actually get facial recognition and you can recognize who you're looking at.
Right. Well, I mean, it's like in Zero Dark 30 when they have the drones going down on the Abbottabad house. Yeah. It gets in so close, but that was so high up. Yeah. So I think the cameras are just very strong, powerful
cameras,
technology.
Powerful lenses. So Ion's on this bus and then the bus gets pulled over and everybody gets yanked off the bus.
For a passport check.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen to this kid?
He was practicing his name.
He didn't even go over his information, any of that.
No, he didn't.
It got to the point where it's almost kind of annoying that Ion is just like not
this naive about it.
Yeah, he's not at least half a step ahead. I know you're panicking, but at some point you have to think to yourself, I need to survive, so you should
have something.
Something, just a little bit ahead. A little bit ahead.
I just feel like, especially because now we know how close he was to Haqqani.
Yeah.
You know, he paid for his college, all this.
Right.
I feel like if you're that close to a known terrorist, you would have some sort of training to know what to do in these types of situations, where whether or not you're faking identity or escaping or something. I just feel like you would have to go through some form of training to protect a high up.
Well, maybe he's kept himself separated from the family because just for that very reason. It's like, well, we don't know anything. He's maybe off doing whatever. And, you know, I think they have like so many extended cousins and so many extended family members or whatever that maybe, even though he, you know, they had a close relationship, I think that was something that you would definitely have to find out via intel based on maybe their family members. That there's a lot of family members. I don't know. Yeah. Who knows? You know, kind of thing. I think that the CIA would have probably known that had they not found out on their own that they're obviously close, because there's a lot of family. Right. So, I don't know. That being said, the drone was following him, and the bus gets pulled over. He gets yanked out, and he pays off the officer. Yeah, he pays off the officer. They're checking their papers. I'm like, what is going on? Like, do they still do that in regions of the world somewhere? They might. That's really crazy. Well, so I mean, speak. Pakistan's not really a peaceful country. It's not America. So America. Right. So yeah, he pulls it off. He actually dropped some pounds on him. And like 1,000 pounds. Yeah, it was like 1,000 pounds. So he gave him all he had. The guy starts. Not that he's gonna need it. Right. Exactly. Oh. Not that he is, right. So from there on, he's able to get back on the bus and continue to the gas station thing. Exactly. Continue on his, what's the gas station? I don't even know what it was. It was like a water pit telephone booth area. Right. And that's where he was able to call his uncle. Mm-hmm. And you know, the one thing that I like and I don't like about Homeland is every time someone's spoken another language, it's like, if you don't know what that language is, because they never put subtitles. I wish they would put subtitles. See, as a fan, I kind of would like to, but then it takes away some of the authenticity, because then you really don't know what this person is saying, because you don't know that language. And you're relying on the translator and the CIA. Exactly. So that's kind of a control of the audience that the writers have established, which I think is pretty cool. So then after that, he calls Carrie. But what did he establish on that phone call with his uncle? That they're going to meet at the place where they went when he was a kid. Okay. So now we know where he's going to go meet his uncle, wherever that spot is, sort of. We don't know where that spot is. But we got that drone. But we got the drone. Exactly. So then he calls Carrie, and then Carrie's in the room, and then she has to step away. Not like there's a million ears. Everybody in the room is on this conversation anyway. But I guess that's weird, because sometimes you could be like in front of somebody that you're like related to or something, and then get a phone call and you're like stepping away. It might have just been second nature type, you know, walking away. Like to get in the zone of being in love. Oh gosh. Oh, I think I threw up in my mouth a little bit. Yeah. So I'm like, he's gonna say something. He's gonna say something, and everybody's gonna freak out. And sure enough, then he tells her. He drops the L-bomb on her, and he's like, "I love you," and then she's like, "I love you too." That was kind of sweet, though, that he was like calling to check on her. Right. But was it 24 hours after the holding would have been up for her? She said... Or it must have been after 6 hours. So she would have been released, right? Because I was only thinking about the timeline. Well, she said they could only hold me for 24 hours. But was that 24 hours later? Is my question. Yeah, I'm not sure. Loophole. Interesting. Yeah, that was my only thought with that. Yeah, I'm not sure about it. But I was the whole time just waiting for him to say something way more intimate than "I love you." Yeah, I know. Like when we were in bed together, I just kept thinking. I was waiting for him to say something to make everybody really freak out in the room. But saying "I love you" was enough. My favorite part was when Carrie hung up the phone and went back and leaned against the desk next to Redmond. He was just like... Yeah, Redmond is so uncomfortable. Redmond's a funny dude. Like he has like the most interesting expressions. They say so much, but his face never really says much. But then when he does make an expression, it's like,
yeah,
it's kind of what the audience is thinking at the same time, like half the time. So,
but then the rest of the time, it's like his face doesn't move.
Yeah,
literally.
Right. Also, I felt like Carrie was really, really mean to Farrah.
Yeah.
When
I feel like she thinks that everyone was judging her, because otherwise she wouldn't have asked Redman what everyone thought of the situation of her and Ion.
I mean,
so I think maybe she's on edge, and that's why she was being so defensive with Farrah.
Right. She obviously definitely feels guilty. I want to know what you guys think about how Carrie handled the situation with Ion, how Carrie handled the situation with Farrah, and we're going to talk about Quinn in a minute too, and how Quinn is trying to...
He's sassy.
He's trying to cope. I think he's just trying to cope with this whole scenario. Hensley is like, Saul didn't get on the plane or whatever, and I think if Quinn wasn't so wrapped up into Carrie, I think he would have responded to that first instead of later.
He's so obsessed with the fact that Carrie isn't answering the phone, and
everything to do with Carrie.
Yeah, and he thinks everything is about her with Ion doing whatever they do.
Exactly. So I think that the first time Hensley went to him and was like, Saul didn't get on his plane, and he said, well, did you try Langley? He's like, yeah, I tried them already, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, the resources that normally would know where Saul is, he's like, yeah, did you try Mirror? Oh, yeah, well, Mirror, I left a message and answer, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And he just
try Langley again. I was like, why would you try Langley again? Like, they have the surveillance
intelligence agency. Don't you think they know? If you said no, we don't know. Like, they don't know. It's not like it's gonna pop up all of a sudden. So he just leaves. I think if he wasn't so like occupied with Carrie on the brain, he would have responded to that situation the first time Hensley brought it up,
right?
Instead of just leaving, because he's just like so bothered. Like these like little relationships that are going on, or this tension that's going on with the dynamics of these relationships,
it's like derailing the case.
It is, because completely. No one is like on their game,
right?
At all,
especially Quinn.
Especially Quinn. What I was gonna say was, if you guys want to call in, you guys can. 424-253-0504, 424-253-0504. So going back to Carrie and Farrah, she's overly defensive and she's really rude, and tells her, can you go handle a hefty bag and go clean up the safe house? Like, really?
Farrah started crying.
She almost cried. Her eyes did water and get glassy. Yeah. But I'm glad that Farrah stood up for herself.
Good for her.
Because Farrah has always been like really meek and like kind of humble, and she's starting to like feel more like empowered, and like she's empowering herself. And I think that probably came from Quinn a little bit when he was saying that, you're becoming a good agent, you're good at this, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And she's more essential to the case and what's going on, because she was the one, and she mentioned that she found Ion, and she's the one that discovered that Haqqani was still alive, and she pointed that out. And I'm glad that she threw that in Carrie's face, like, look, bitch, if it wasn't for me.
Well, because it's so true. They wouldn't be tracking Ion going into the mountains if it weren't for that discovery.
Right. That's true. So,
and they would not have found Saul if it weren't for that.
So exactly. And let's talk about Farrah going back to the house to clean up.
Okay.
She goes back to the house to clean up. Now, one thing I didn't like is how she's in the house cleaning up, and Dennis the Menace Boyd comes to the house and is able to acquire information right under Farrah's nose while she's in the safe house cleaning.
Well, I think she was upstairs on the balcony. But
but still, it's kind of like, really?
I said this during the show,
because he's not a professional. He's far from a professional.
No, yeah, he's like a novice, like
novice
Xbox Call of Duty player. But my blood pressure rises whenever I see him. He makes me so stressed for whatever reason. Like when I see him creeping around the corner, I'm like, you're not equipped to do this.
Right. I'm thinking he's gonna die. He has to die.
Yeah.
That's going into predictions, but I don't know what you guys think, but Dennis the Menace Boyd has to go.
He does.
He's kind of like him. He's only useful to the opposite side, and he's a traitor. He's a traitor.
He is. He's a traitor to the country,
and he's cheating on his wife. On top of that, like,
with who?
I mean, he's
You mean country-wise?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant with a girl. I was like,
no, I mean, he's cheating on his wife, like, he's...
Country to country.
Right. But it's not just the fact that he's getting information. He's using her as he's getting intelligence. He was, like, swiping it from her desk. And
he's completely messing and, like, getting Carrie.
Yeah.
Putting her in a dangerous position.
What do you think was the point of him going to Quinn and asking Quinn questions about Carrie? Like,
I think he was trying to get information about Carrie's medicine and like what her psychological state was.
But I mean, with the medicine that he found, isn't it easy for them just to go say, oh, these medications are used for these conditions, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, but maybe they don't know the extent or they don't know what the trigger is.
Right.
You know, that it's Brody that, you know, trigger whatever it is. But
he's such a putz, this guy, who was caught
Dennis.
who was caught for plagiarism at George Washington University.
And now he's in this spy game.
Right, now he's in a spy game, stealing stuff off of his wife, who's
he's the worst.
Desk. He's a loser. Anyway,
bad human.
So he gets stuff from the safe house, and he meets with Tasmin, who's the ISI agent, who has him by his balls in a vice, it seems. I'm trying to figure out I still don't understand or know what their deal is.
I feel like it'll come out later, probably.
Yeah, like it just seems like, yeah, you're gonna feed us information, and that's that. Like, what was the trade-off?
Well, I think he was probably friends with Sandy, and somehow that connection parlayed into getting him stuck in this rock and a hard spot position that he's in now with Tasmin.
Right.
Because the first time that we meet Tasmin with Dennis, she's like, well, you know, Sandy's gone, so now you basically are the replacement. Kind of.
Okay.
First episode.
Okay. So it's going to be interesting to see what Tasmin does with this information that she has. And plus, he actually got the ID of Ayan as well. Not that helps, because we see what happens to Ayan.
Right.
So Ayan ends up in the mountains, in the spot where him and his uncle,
which is like a peaceful creek.
It was a very peaceful creek. It looks like they shot that, you said, like in Colorado somewhere or something like that, which is what it does look like. But you see the ladies there, they're getting water from the creek, and then he prays. Then he gets to this location, and he takes his shoes and socks off, and he goes and lays down and
basks in the sun.
Yeah. And I'm like, what is he doing? And I guess we figure out later, it's like, oh, he was just waiting because that was the location that they're going to come get him. So his uncle's men come to get him, and they take him to the meeting area where Haqqani's going to come meet him. And lo and behold, they pull Saul out the back.
Yes.
And Carrie and the guys are like, oh, like, right.
Yeah. So
that's why Saul didn't make his flight. Oh, we get it now.
He's being held by the terrorists.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, no, that was very sad. And even Haqqani to Ayan, you know, he was like, I'm very grateful that you were able to get me my medicine and keep me better. But the CIA head director's friend, you've been sleeping with, basically.
Right. So I was like, how did they know all this information?
I don't think they got it out of Saul, because I don't think Saul really knew.
So you think it was the guy that was following him earlier? Remember the guy that was following him earlier?
No, because that guy was part of Carrie's thing to freak him out.
Oh, okay. So I'm just trying to figure out how they got all this information, though, about him and Carrie. And how come they didn't, like, you know, grab him and put him? I don't know. It's, like, weird.
They probably had a tracker or something, or probably maybe through Dennis, because I don't know.
Because they knew all this stuff.
They did.
And then, you know, Saul didn't tell him anything.
Saul didn't really even know the full extent of it, though. He had an assumption.
Right.
Carrie didn't outright tell him.
So I'm trying to figure out how they knew. Because it's not like they were on the phone. And how did he get all this intelligence on
Maybe they tracked that phone call with Carrie, the I love you phone call, like the CIA was tracking the Haqqani phone call.
Ah.
Just a guess.
Maybe so. And then they did their intel and found out, oh, he was sleeping with the CIA agent, had no idea.
Yeah.
But I think it really sucks that he shot him and he left Saul alive. And Saul is like,
I'm glad they left Saul alive. I'd rather it be that way than the other way.
No, I just thought it was weird because
well, probably
just from his standpoint, okay, he's in your possession. What more damage can he do? Even though he's not doing it on purpose, he just doesn't know. Just keep him with you and be like, look, you have to stay with us because you're being used. So you're going to come to the mountains and you're going to stay in a cave. And once all this is figured out and sorted out, then we'll send you off so you can finish medical school or whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Well, I think because Haqqani knew there was a drone following them and that they were trying to kill him. I feel like Haqqani killed Ayan to send a message and then kept Saul alive because he knows the CIA will come after Saul.
But why would the CIA come after Saul? He's the ex-CIA director. He's not...
Because he said that Carrie is basically like Saul's daughter.
Oh, leverage. There you go. Okay. That makes sense. So
yeah,
we'll see.
So it's like holding for ransom.
Right.
Type thing.
But I don't know if it really worked because she was like, take the shot.
Because
like,
she's crazy. Care. But that just goes to show.
Like, Saul is like your dad, and you're going to risk his life all because of some kid you've been sleeping with for a couple of weeks, who she's probably going to be pregnant by a couple episodes. Because he got shot, like...
I don't think it was that she was defending Ayan. I think it was that she had Haqqani in the open, and she could, who knows the next time she's going to see him because he knows he's being tracked now. He can just go into the mountains and hide. So she had that one shot to kill Haqqani for good and like know it. And to Saul, he's dying for the good of his country. That's probably what she was thinking in her head. I'm just saying.
I don't know. You're making some pretty good points there. And of course, we definitely want to know what you guys think about all these things that happened this episode. And then Quinn came and intervened and was like, no, we're not going to.
For him.
Yeah, we're not going to do this.
And speaking of, the hashtag on Twitter was Quintervention, which I loved.
Quintervention. I don't know. You think America will go and extract the ex-CIA director? I mean, do you really think that's...
I don't think America would, but I think Carrie would.
I mean, that's what I mean.
Oh.
When I say America, I mean, they're going to be some covert operation. They're going to go try to... They've been trying to get this guy for a long time. How are they going to really be able to, what are they going to do? Send a SEAL team in? I mean, how are they really going to be able to pull this off? To get Saul. This is what's going to be interesting to me. They're probably going to do, okay, you know what? We're going to skip news and gossip. We don't have any news and gossip, do we?
No.
Okay, so let's skip straight to predictions.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV.
But I think that this is what they've been building up to. All the setup that we've been talking about since the beginning of this season.
Yeah.
I think now it's about to hit the fan and it's going to be insane again.
Okay, so... We saw Carrie look like she has been captured or something like that when they showed episodes for next week or the weeks to come or whatever.
Yeah.
It's very possible that she she does a trade.
Here's what I think. So you see the scene where they're refilling pills with that powder. And they focus so heavily with Tasneem that she's on a ton of medication. So I feel like they might switch out the type of medication that she's taking so that either she goes crazy or it like messes with her to the point where they can lure her in more easily. And then that's where she gets taken in. I don't think she's going to give herself up to be traded for Saul because she almost just let him die.
But I think she was making an irrational reaction, emotional, irrational reaction. I don't know. It's
I don't know
hard
if she's going to put herself in like a terrorist's hands to set her mentor free.
Unless she feels responsible for it to begin with based on how she handled the situation.
She might, because that would be the third big person that she's let die. Brody, Ayan,
then Saul.
Saul is in peril.
Well, we want to know what you guys think, because obviously we're all watching the show together.
We love it.
And there's a lot of things going on in Homeland. I really honestly didn't have a lot of hope for Homeland season 4, and a lot of people didn't think it was going to be as good, and a lot of people are making comments saying that, it's surprisingly better than we expected. last season wasn't that great.
No,
especially
I think it's good this season.
It's good. It's good this season.
It's getting better.
It's escalating. The suspense is escalating. So it'll be definitely good to see what happens next week. Where can we find you till next week, Lexie Hammesfahr?
You can find me on all social media at Lexie Hammesfahr.
And you can find me at Club Thaddeus on all social media as well. And you can find me on here on a number of other shows on AfterBuzz TV. Until next time, AfterBuzzers, peace.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.